Welcome back, viewers. Today we'll be looking at something a little bit different. As you may or may not know, I usually like to look at computer stuff, the Commodore 64, my IBM I have, or even the Pentium War era stuff, since I grew up using that. But today we'll be looking at a bit of electronics from 1979. It is a video game console called the Tournament 2000 by Unisonic. And here you see it. It is a Pong clone. Pong came out in 1972 as an arcade cabinet and was released the same year as a home video game console. Everybody else saw the success in Atari and started copying that, basically, and there are a million bad Pong consoles. This one, however, is quite good, I think. Unfortunately, mine doesn't have all of the stuff it should come with. Ideally, it would come in the box, and have all the stuff. It's supposed to have a gun. It's supposed to have, well, these are supposed to come out, but I can't seem to get them out. There we go. As you can see, it's kind of hard to. But ideally, it's supposed to have a cable that goes into there and then plugs into the inside. I don't know if you can see that, probably not. But, so you can play it far away from the console, which is cool, but totally unnecessary because it plugs right in. So, and that's fine with me. It comes, like most of the games of the time, with a composite cable, so you could plug it into an RF box. But rather than use the old prong style RF boxes from the 70s, I prefer to use one of these, which takes that RCA or composite style jack and turns it right into the back of the coax. So you can plug it right into the back of your computer. You plug this into that, or sorry, I said computer, I meant television set. You plug this into this little guy, and then you plug this right into the coax on the back of your television set, and it's all good. Of course, it's different from Europe, but this is America, so we use this kind of coax. This little guy here will probably cost you $3 to $4 at Radio Shack. I thought that was a little expensive personally, but I was willing to fork it up because I was trying to get a Commodore 64 to work at the time, which I later found out was dead. Not the ones I showed on this channel, but two ones I bought earlier. Okay, and now taking a look at the control panel, you can see it has 6 different game modes, 2 counters to keep track. The game plays up to 15 before one side wins. You can either manual keep track, or it keeps track in the video game itself. In the different 6 modes, you have tennis or table tennis, which is basic Pong, hockey or soccer, which has goalies on either side, squash, practice, which is basically you against a wall going doink 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 doink, targets, which is your shooting one. I don't have the light gun, as I said before, or skeet, which again is a shooting gun game. On the top here you have manual switches to select size of paddle. You have Pro size, which is a lot smaller. You have Speed, which is Pro or average. You have Serve, which is manual or auto, because you can actually hit Serve right here to manually serve it every time you want to play a game or start a game. And then this is Reset. It resets the counter back to 0 on the game, and you can play a full game up to 15. This is Angle, Pro or average. And then power on off, obviously. The difference between the angle, pro, and average is it'll be a lot faster and it'll shoot off at odd angles. So you have to be a lot better at doing it. A lot faster reactions, which is hard with these paddles sometimes because they're analog controls. They get a little glitchy and corroded. But mine seem to work fine, so we'll just show it in action right here. Now, before I go ahead and set it up, I just wanted to show you one more thing. There is a DIN socket on the back for the light gun, which I don't have, and a DC 9 volt, which is that almost mono audio cable looking things like the old calculators had in the 70s and a lot of these game consoles. So if you're looking for a one of those, it might be a little bit harder to find a 9 volt without custom wiring one up. The plugs for the panels are also on the side, so you don't have to try and plug the cable up into there to get it in there. You can just plug it right into the side and it'll work just fine. In my case, I don't have the 9 volt thing, unfortunately, so I have to use batteries, which is nice that they included this in case you lost that. So you have to use C type batteries, unfortunately, and these things are quite expensive, as are all batteries. But if it's the holidays and they're on sale, buy them, because C batteries are not too commonly used and they are very expensive. So I'm just going to put those in here and then we'll turn it on and give you a look. Now, normally I would use a more modern television set, such as the 90s Sanyo TV I have over here, but I thought this was more fitting. I found this at the thrift store a few days before I found the actual Tournament 2000. It is a 1976 solid-state Zenith portable television set, and it has the 2 forks on the back for channel or for antenna. But it's split by channel. So for the smaller ones, the non-UHF, I can use an adapter. I used a small RF adapter to change it so that I could plug a coax cable right into it, which means that I can watch movies or play video games on this thing as I see fit, since analog broadcasts are no longer a thing, which is a shame, because this would have been really cool to watch the news on. So let me turn off the light and we can give you an example of this thing in action. We'll just turn it on. And I should have it set to the channel already, so we'll just go ahead and turn on the Tournament 2000 by Unisonic. Okay, we're going to reset it here and take a look at it.
As you can see, the right pedal's being a little glitchy with the movements. It should be smooth, but it's jumping about. So I'm going to go clean that right now and see if I can make it work a little bit better. This mode I'm playing right here is called tennis or table tennis. It's the first mode in the game. And as you can see, it keeps track right there on the top. It can be reset manually, and you can manually serve, but right here I have it set to automatic. The second mode in the game is called hockey or soccer. It basically works where you have a goalie on the left side, then you have the right offensive player on the left side, and then you have the left player's offensive player on the right side, and then you have the left player's goalie on the left side. The left player obviously controls both of those guys, the offensive and the defensive, and then the right side plays his one. It's quite confusing to keep track of, as is the next mode we'll be looking at, which is squash. Squash, as this mode is called, is very much as you expect it to be. It works just like the real thing. You have 2 players, and they bounce the ball off of a wall in a room, and they have to alternate between themselves. This is kind of hard to keep track of since the paddles are very close together. They run right next to each other, and when trying to operate both, as I am in this picture, it gets very confusing, and I mix up the left and right very easily, as you'll see, because the points rack up pretty quickly. This game mode, called Practice, is the last Pong type game on this console. Basically what it is much like Squash, the previous game mode. You have a room and one paddle this time, so you can play by yourself, since there is no AI on this console whatsoever to control another paddle. Basically what you do is try and keep score against yourself and play as best you can. It is a sort of practice. It kind of reminds me a lot of wall ball from my childhood. These last two game modes, Target and Skeet, are exactly as they sound. You need the gun to play it, and it works a lot like Duck Hunt. Now, setting the game back to table tennis, I'd like to take a look at some of the pro settings. The game speed we'll start out with. If you set it to pro, the ball flies by at an almost impossible to hit rate. As you'll see right here, the score quickly racks up against me. Now if we set the paddle size to pro, it's almost impossible to hit the ball. As you'll see here, it just flies right past me, and I don't think I even hit it once. Now if we turn off the other pro settings, because leaving them on and then turning this on would be cruel and inhumane, then we focus our attention on the angle setting. We turn that from normal to pro. You'll notice it is more extreme deflection angles from the wall and the paddle. Not sure how that makes that harder, but it definitely does make it a little harder to predict where the ball is going to fly. The last thing I'd like to note is that when the score reaches 15 for one side or the other, the paddles will no longer interact with the ball. You can't play on without resetting the score back to 0. The ball will actually move straight through the paddle as if it isn't there. It's quite interesting that they did that. I'm not sure why, though. Well, that about wraps it up for the Unisonic 2000. I hope you enjoyed this video and it was somewhat informative. If you want to see more, just check out my channel, and thank you for watching. I'm Mad King Corduroy, and this has been Transcendental Airwaves.